previous drilling at Burtville East was sparse and shallow air core only. This is our second RC program at the project. We're following up on the 2022 600 metre short program that had those fantastic intercepts. So to date at Burtville East, we've only drilled around 2,000 metres of RC. This is the start of the greater 7,000 metre program for the Laverton Gold Project. Given it's so long, we're limited in both budget and the number of holes we have available for us to cover the targets. We're certainly not at a grey, although I'd love to have a similar budget. This round at Burtville East was really about providing certainty and comfort with the continuity of grade and the modelling the main lode. So yeah, we had to stick a few holes in the guts to find that out. We also stepped out to the east where we got some good numbers. Unfortunately, hole 4 was pulled up about 15 metres too short. The geologist on site saw the quartz and the rock chips and misinterpreted that for the main vein. Well, for those new to the company, welcome. The stockpiles are an ongoing story and they're a legacy from the 1980s, from a prior small-scale private mining operation. The private mining guys would have been targeting the gold and the quartz. It's really high grade, and it would have been pretty simple for them to get out with even a dolly pot. It looks like there's an old stamp mill or a hammer mill on site, or a location for it. But the stockpile contained highly disseminated sort of metabasalts, and the gold's quite fine, so it would have been extremely difficult for them to get out, and that's why they remain on site today. Yeah, look, all in all, half of the program's holes hit high grades or bonanza intercepts. I mean, that to me is a pretty good strike rate for just 1,300 metres of drilling. Bonanza grades are generally accepted in the industry as being greater than 31 grams a tonne or an ounce to the tonne. So with that being said, a couple of our holes really hit it out of the park, including hole 6, which had an intercept of 1 metre at 127 grams per tonne, nice and shallow too, from 44 metres. That's nearly 4 ounces to the tonne. And we had hole number 8, which had a couple of ripper intercepts too, nice and thick, about 2 metres over about 54 grams a tonne. And that's another thick zone running at nearly 2 ounces to the tonne. A lot has changed from the historic intercept that we utilised for the float in December 2021. From 2022 to even now, this includes basic stuff like orientation. We've only put 2,000 metres into this particular project, and so there's a long way to go with our understanding. And some have labelled this a thin shoot. I'm not sure what they're looking at, given the average thickness sits around 6 to 8 metres at Burtville East in the main lode anyway. I'd love to see their geological modelling. But at this point, our favourite theory is that these are sigmoidal veins. It fits the orogenic gold system story, and it starts to really explain the undefined lodes around the main lodes as this type of system generally comes in more than one, being that it's of tension gashes. So once again, we need to do further modelling and interp. That's being carried out now. All lodes remain open along strike and at depth, I should mention. Again, it needs more drilling. Yeah, well, we're only relatively shallow at the moment. We haven't even looked to see if it could support an open cut yet either. My statement around it being a potential candidate for an underground operation is that those widths, 6 to 8 metres, with their associated grades, combined with the main lode being sub-vertical, so straight up and down, pretty much fits the bill for a standard stoping operation, high grade with little dilution, and that's what the privateers in the 1980s were trying to do before water obviously shot them down. We know it's significant, but this is the first time the entire corridor has been under one roof. Battle Mountain, Australia, had a crack and had a chunk of the middle section in 1995, but very little has been done since, and Placid Dome put a couple of holes up to the northeast. So we find ourselves the sole licence holders of 35 kilometres of strike that's been pretty well underexplored. And while we love a good nugget story from Comet Well or some bonanza intercepts at Burtville, for me the real prize here is having an accurate regional model over that entire 35 kilometre of strike being proved up by our drilling, which it largely has been to date, including the discovery of Picnic Ridge at 40 Mile Camp and proving up the potential in that area where no drill holes had previously existed before. So that's what this campaign is about. Burtville East was just the start. Let's not get too carried away. It was started first for very simple reasons. It's close to town, it's easy to access, and it's the most northern point of the program, working from north to south. So it was first cab off the rank. We're seeing different host rocks for the gold in the north, and they're hosted in gold similar to this. This is one of the samples that you've already probably known from Comet Well. But then further to the south at Comet Well, we're seeing not only quartz and ironstone, but also weathered schists, like in the 2024 specimen. So without getting too nerdy about it all, we're still really unlocking the regional geology and further really scratching that surface to delve down into what's underneath. So we're hoping to make more discoveries along that entire corridor as this campaign continues, and unlock further knowledge along its wake.